So by now you've probably all heard of the TicWatch Pro 3, and understandably so, some of you might have been deterred by the higher price point. Now though, there is a new smartwatch on the block. This is a TicWatch E3, the budget-friendly younger brother to the TicWatch Pro 3, and I'm very happy to say it comes with very few compromises. It runs on Google's Wear OS, it's lighter and even sports the latest Snapdragon Wear 4100 chip, the same as the TicWatch Pro 3, starting to sound like a pretty smart deal. So in this video we'll do a quick unboxing, review its features and of course do a heart rate and blood oxygen accuracy test. Make sure you keep watching as the TicWatch E3 might just be one of the best smartwatch purchase opportunities of 2021. Stay tuned. What's up guys, welcome back to Tech It Easy. So the TicWatch E3 has landed on the table for a review and unboxing. So I've had this thing for around 2 weeks now, and full disclosure, they did send this out to me, but I can assure you it's not going to make me any less thorough. Before we get stuck into the brand new TicWatch E3, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, check out our Discord server, and also subscribe to our brand new channel, Teasy's Top 5. Links will be down below. Now let's start things off by unboxing the TicWatch E3. So we're going to see what's inside the box, talk about the design and the setup. Straight away I can tell you it's a really great unboxing experience. First impressions of the watch were awesome, and it's not something that I would actually class as budget, as sometimes that suggests it's a bit cheap. I'd actually call this affordable because it actually feels pretty good. So with the watch itself we get a really nice long charger. It is a magnetic pin charger, so there will be no wireless charging on this watch. But that's no bad thing, this is a sort of budget / affordable watch, so it's not something we can really expect, and the fact that they included quite a long cable does make all the difference. I've reviewed many fitness trackers and smartwatches and they come with these horrible little dinky cables that I never know what to do with. Other things I'm noticing, the watch is pretty big, there's 2 physical buttons and we have a huge bezel. Now it would be nice if the bezel actually had some utility. For example, they could make it touch sensitive. Not too upset about that, but I do feel like the bezels are quite large for 2021. Nonetheless though, the watch does look great. So attached to the watch is a rubber wrist strap, and the watch itself is a non-metal body and it features 2D curved glass. Something else that I think could become outdated pretty quickly. For example, the upcoming Galaxy Active 4 is rumoured to be coming with a completely flat screen, and in my head that is going to be something that's going to look a lot more modern. So it'd be interesting to see how quickly the TicWatch E3 ages. So moving on from the unboxing, let's compare the TicWatch Pro 3 to the TicWatch E3 and see what we're going to be losing out on. Now the TicWatch E3 is quite obviously the budget version of the TicWatch Pro. You haven't got that nice bezel and it just looks a little bit dumbed down. If you are coming over from Apple, you could compare it to the likes of the Apple Watch SE. If you do end up going for the TicWatch E3, you're not actually going to be missing out on too much. In actual fact, it has a lot of similarities to its big brother. As mentioned at the start, we have the same chip, the Snapdragon 4100. And for comparison to other smartwatches in the same sort of field, the Fossil Watch Gen 5 uses the Snapdragon 3100. So compared to the 4100, you're looking at a 150% GPU increase, 85% CPU and memory increase, as well as 25% saving on power consumption. Those are pretty big numbers. We also have the same storage and RAM, that being 1GB of RAM and 8GB of storage, as well as the blood oxygen, 24-hour heart rate monitoring, VO2 max, and of course your usual sports tracking features. It's sounding like a pretty good deal, but one big difference between the two watches is the battery life. The TicWatch Pro boasts up to 72 hours of battery life in what they call smart mode, and 45 days in essential mode, which, if I'm honest, that sort of defeats the object of it being a smartwatch because it really brings it back to its bare basics. Anyway, the new TicWatch E3, which we do have here, goes for 24 hours, which by today's smartwatch standards is dragging behind a little bit. That being said, in my personal opinion, if it gets you through the whole day, no questions asked, you're going to be absolutely fine. And from personal experience and testing, it's actually done me more than a day several times. In fact, I've not really thought about charging it too much. Every day I've put it on charge, it's always had around 20% to 30% left. I will admit I've not been wearing it 24/7, 24/7, but I have used it for a bit of sleep tracking and of course wearing it throughout the day. So if anything, I do think they've actually undersold themselves here. Less battery life could also be excused as the TicWatch E3 is a lot lighter and smaller than the TicWatch Pro 3. For example, the TicWatch E3 weighs in at just 32 grams as opposed to the 41.9 grams the TicWatch Pro 3 weighs in at. And although it does look and feel bulky, it's not weighing me down. So let's move on to the health tracking features, which is probably what you all want to hear about. So as I mentioned briefly earlier, the TicWatch E3 features many different tracking capabilities, those being VO2 max, sleep tracking, stress tracking, blood oxygen, heart rate, steps, stress, and a few others. It also features over 21 different workouts, up from the original 14 that the TicWatch Pro 3 had. To name a few, we have football, indoor/outdoor cycling, and even taekwondo. Smartwatches from the likes of Samsung may have more, but as I stress in almost all smartwatch videos, you don't really need workouts. They all do the same thing, just with a different name and in a slightly different way. Strip it back and your watch is always just tracking the same things. So if you were hoping for more, don't let it deter you. In addition to these features, we do also have automatic workout detection, so you don't need to press any buttons and it's just all automatic. There's no setting up and it's really easy to use. Whilst talking about setting things up, I will mention that the TicWatch E3 has been super easy. So if you're not exactly a techie, then I'm pretty sure you're gonna have no issues setting it up. The biggest thing you have to do is make an account, download their app, and that's it. Even without that, you can still use the watch. So moving on to the app, it's a really nice simple layout. This is of course where you can find your watch faces, but mainly this is where you get your fitness report and detailed breakdown of things like stress, heart rate, exercise, and other bits. So whilst we've got the app open, we might as well move on to doing the blood oxygen and the heart rate accuracy test. To do this, as usual, I'll be using medical grade equipment. So in this instance, I'll be using the O2 ring that the guys at Well You provided me for a previous video. What it will do is put a live reading to my phone of the SpO2 and heart rate, and we can match that to what is displayed on the watch and inside the app. Okay, so let's jump straight into the heart rate accuracy test. So as you can see straight away, straight off the bat, it is bang on. This is a really good sign because I didn't have to do any extra adjusting, it just worked straight away. As expected, there were a few discrepancies. At one time it did shoot up quite a bit higher than the O2 ring, but then it did come back down and level itself out again. It is also worth noting that smartwatches do tend to be a little bit slower with their continuous heart rate tracking compared to the O2 ring, which is to be expected since the O2 ring is sort of medical grade equipment. But yeah, really happy with the heart rate accuracy here. If it's something that's important to you, there's no need to worry. Moving swiftly on to the SpO2 monitoring. Again, I've done 10 tests off camera in total. I'm just going to show you a few of them. Every single time it was bang on. The last test I did, it was 1% out, but in fairness, on the O2 ring, the percentage had only just dropped just as the TicWatch E3 was giving its results. So out of my 10 tests, I had a 100% success rate, which is absolutely amazing, especially for a device at this price point. And I think that even rivals some of the flagship smartwatches at the moment. So 10 out of 10 for heart rate and SpO2 accuracy for me. So now the heart rate accuracy test is out of the way, let's talk about Wear OS, system UI, and what are the features the TicWatch E3 has. So the TicWatch E3 is running on the latest version of Wear OS, and I have to say it's been a delight. Really surprised me coming from Samsung. The last time I played around with Wear OS was actually with a Skagen Folster 3, and I have to admit it was an absolutely god-awful experience. But the TicWatch E3 has sort of given me some hope, and dare I say, at times it even feels a bit smoother than Tizen. I'll admit that it did take some getting used to, but it feels really fast, smooth and snappy, and I have to say it is great to have such fluid animations and an uncompromised experience on a budget/affordable smartwatch. Moving into the watch, we have a great selection of apps, and it's really nice and simple and clear. A swipe from the top will bring you to your settings, left is Google Assistant, bottom is your notifications, and a swipe right brings you into the watch tiles. This is where you can see your activity rings, weather, and a few other bits. And you can actually customize these to how you want them. Now I did briefly mention notifications and I do want to quickly talk about them. So I'm getting notifications from things like Discord, even cryptocurrency price alerts, you name it, I've got it. And the best thing about all this is that none of it required any setting up. In fact, I didn't even know I had it set up. These are things that I don't really get on my Galaxy Watch at the moment. As well as it just showing up on your watch for reading, it does also give you a vibration alert, so you're not going to miss anything important. Quick pit stop on the subject of watch faces. Now, I will admit the TicWatch E3 doesn't have the best selection in comparison to the Galaxy Watch 3's ecosystem. But then again, you do have access to popular apps such as Facer and Watchmaker, where you'll get thousands upon thousands of watch face choices. And I will be dropping a top 10 Wear OS watch face episode later on in the week, so make sure you subscribe for that. So this video is getting a lot longer than I first anticipated, so I want to quickly go over the specs of the TicWatch E3 just before we finish up. So you do get things like IP68 water resistance with this, so that does mean you can take it pool swimming with you. It also comes with built-in GPS, which is a big selling point for a watch at this price point. We also have things like always on display, NFC, and of course we have that 24-hour battery life. On a side note, the TicWatch E3 does feature a microphone, so you can use your Google Assistant on this, and you can actually make and receive calls on it. So in conclusion, I'm really happy with the TicWatch E3. I will start off with the bad things though. I do think the design could become a little bit outdated. As I mentioned at the start, it does have a huge bezel, and unfortunately the screen is that curved glass, and I think flat screens are going to become a thing on smartwatches very soon. So it'll be interesting to see how the TicWatch E3 ages. Other than that though, you do get a huge selection of features on the watch, alongside flagship killing internals. It makes me think this watch is really a no-brainer considering its price point of £179 or a shade under $200. You're really getting a lot of smartwatch for your money. I guess to sum it up in a sentence, you're getting a flagship watch experience, just not a flagship design. And for me, that's a pretty good compromise. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below on the TicWatch E3. Also, let me know how you found the video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. For now though, I've been Alex, and remember, take it easy.